painstakingly beautiful and a complete contrast to the entire rest of the range, the Toyota 2000 GT changed the world's views on Japanese cars forever. People have long talked about how Yamaha worked with Toyota to make the all-singing, all-dancing engine showcased in the 2000 GT. But did you also know that Carroll Shelby, the American racing legend behind Ford's GT40 and his own, mostly, Cobra, played a key role in making this Japanese supercar a purebred racing machine? The 2000 GT wasn't just a pretty face, it was a declaration to the world that the Japanese weren't going to keep making rebadged British cars forever. Not long after they were finished fighting each other in a world war, the Americans and the Japanese collaborated together to make one of the greatest cars that the biggest car maker in the world would ever make. This is the story of how Carroll Shelby helped Toyota make the 2000 GT a racing machine. By the early 1960s, Japan's car industry was still considered second tier. Even though they were beginning to make their own designs, no longer just rebuilding plans they'd bought after the war, Toyota wanted to prove it could already engineer a world-class sports car that would leave their European and British rivals at the side of the road, or they'd likely broken down. Designed in collaboration with Yamaha, the 2000 GT was much more than just a styling exercise. Originally, it featured a 2-litre straight-six engine called the 3M. No, not the company that does basically everything. Based on the Toyota Crown power plant, but reworked by Yamaha with a new dual overhead cam and triple carbs. The result was a high-revving, 150 horsepower, 135 miles per hour masterpiece that sounded like the angels themselves were rejoicing. They also did a slightly larger 2.3 version, but, well, nobody cares. Coupled with a 5-speed manual, 4-wheel disc brakes, which were exceptionally rare for the time, and a near-perfect 49 to 51 weight distribution, it wasn't just beautiful, it was a serious driver's car. And it got serious attention when it appeared on the '67 James Bond film You Only Live Twice, as a convertible. But you can forget about ever having one of them, because it seems you only build twice as well. No, seriously, they only made 2 of them. Being a Bond car only really means that it looks pretty though, and even then, not in every case. Looking at you, 2CV. To earn the worldwide respect as a driver's car, it had to actually earn its kudos on the track, because back then that actually really meant something. Toyota had been campaigning the 2000 GT pretty well in their home territory, coming first at Suzuka in the 1000 km Enduro of '66, as well as dominating both the 1000 km and 24 hours of Fuji Speedway Enduros of 1967. It even broke 13 records at the Yatabe test track, and all of this was done in cars that weren't actually too dissimilar from their road-going counterparts. But the thing is, this was all local news. Toyota needed to show the world what they could do, not just their neighbours. So they drafted in some help from someone who just put themselves right into the spotlight. None other than Carroll Shelby. Gonna interrupt this little informational video real quick with a message about our web store. And yes, I know everybody talks about their web store or their sponsor or whatever. Look, I'll make it quick. I make t-shirts, they're about the topics that we talk about. The video this week is about the Shelby GT 2000 whatever. There's a t-shirt about it and it says born in the USA, it's gonna go here. It's sure to annoy people because it's got Mount Fuji and it's got a 2000 GT, but it says born in the USA. So you watch this video, you now know why, but not everybody does. So if you want to confuse some people or get some cool other shirts, go check it out. All the money goes towards equipment for videos or project cars or whatever. So yeah, thanks very much. Back to the video. Good luck. By 1967, Shelby was already a motorsports legend. He just won at Le Mans with Ford, built the legendary 427 Cobra, 427, where have I heard that before? And dominated the SCCA with the GT350 Mustang. Toyota wanted to break into the American racing scene and knew they needed someone with a winning pedigree. They approached Shelby to campaign the 2000 GT in the SCCA's C production class, where it would face off against tried and tested cars like the evergreen Porsche 911 and America's own Corvettes. They offered him a budget of $500,000 in then's money, which probably would have funded an F1 team at the time, and 3 of their stunning 2000 GT coupes. So, Shelby accepted. See, Shelby had been bitten not long before when he was offered Toyota distribution for the US. He was actually advised against it by none other than Lee Iacocca. Not one of Lee's better judgments. So Shelby certainly wasn't going to miss his chance this time. Having the 3 Toyotas shipped to Texas, Carroll took them to his old stopping ground, Willow Springs, grabbed Dave Jordan and Scooter Patrick along the way, and began to work his magic. These weren't just stock 2000 GTs with roll cages. Shelby replaced the wheels, fitted low-profile tyres, and after some fettling, got an extra 50 horsepower out of the Yamaha plant. Now Shelby said he could have got more out of it, but apparently the famed Yamaha power plant wasn't actually that easy to work with, and any real modifications to it would have invalidated it from its production class. In 1968, the Shelby prepped 2000 GTs hit the track. Competing in the fiercely contested C production class, they went wheel to wheel with well-established names in the series like Porsche, Triumph, Chevrolet. It was tough racing and hard fought. But inevitably, while the Toyotas could run rings around the Porsches and the twisties, the Porsches were faster in a straight line. But Shelby's drivers didn't back down. Scooter Patrick grabbed some podium finishes while Dave Jordan kept the pressure on the rest. The 2000 GT proved agile and balanced, excelling in the tighter corners and under braking. While they didn't win the championship, Toyota still managed a phenomenal 3rd and 4th place in the championship. But more importantly, they gave the US a little taste of what Toyota could be. Shelby wasn't ready to call it a day, and already the team had plans for next season. But sadly, Toyota didn't. Much to their disappointment, Toyota pulled the plug after just 1 season. Shelby was, understandably, a bit miffed, but many of his notes influenced how Toyota approached performance development in future projects. And it's probably the only time back then that Toyota had heard they needed to be a bit more American. Only 351 Toyota 2000 GTs were ever made. And while Shelby's racing team efforts with it may have been short-lived, those 3 cars gave the other 300 and however many worldwide credibility, and not just for how the car looked. The Shelby still exists today, thankfully, although Toyota themselves redressed one of them to look like the world record attempt car from Yatabe Test Track. The other one sold at auction quite recently and I think became one of the most expensive Japanese cars to ever be sold at auction. Sadly, the Shelby connection rarely ever gets talked about when it comes to Toyota 2000 GTs. Everybody just talks about the Yamaha. So maybe it's time that changed. I've been Tomo, this is 427 Motorsports, thank you very much for watching. There's a link to our Discord down below if you would like to talk cars with some like-minded people. If you would like, go and check out our web store and buy some shirts. And if you're into Volkswagens, there's a new channel on TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. Eventually it will come to YouTube, called Volklore. This is the hard launch on YouTube, I guess, but it'll be about history regarding Volkswagens in particular. So if you're interested in that, go and check it out on other platforms. It's kind of bite-sized stuff. You might like it, you might not. Don't really care. Anyway, I've been Tomo. This is 427 Motorsports. Thank you very much. Good luck.